Joining us now to talk more, we have retired NYPD detective and member of Mar-a-Lago, Pat Brosnan. You've got a really unique perspective, I think, since you are a member there. Can you describe, what the scene would have potentially looked like and how the suspect was able to get on the property?
I can, but I won't, and I'll tell you why. It really shouldn't be articulated. There is a way that he got in clearly, and I'm familiar with it. It's a split-second gap. It's just the way it is. There's no full 1,000% protection. So in the interest of national security, I would never share that. But the fact is, he had an opportunity. He took it. He seized it. He was focused. He was determined.
Yeah.
But the broader takeaway is we are in an everything, everywhere, all at once threat environment. I guess mentioned 5 days ago, an 18-year-old running into the Capitol building across the lawn with a shotgun. It doesn't stop. September 15th, July
Yeah.
12th. I mean, it doesn't stop.
That's right.
And
We're
it's
almost
horrible.
becoming desensitized to this political
Yes.
violence in this country, which is absolutely disgusting. It has no place in a democracy, and it's silly that we even have to say that. What does the mix of a shotgun and a fuel can tell you about his intent? We know investigators right now are going to be working to have a psychological profile and determine a motive, but what does that tell you about his intent, what he came with?
Well, apart from the obvious, he was bent on some level of destruction. But again, the idea of a criminal mastermind is a complete myth. The reality is the Secret Service and the Palm Beach County are fantastic security. I see it there all the time. I'm at Mar-a-Lago a lot. And the reality is there was a lot more hurdles in the form of armed agents in the great distance from where he was neutralized at the North Gate to where the principal, the President of the United States, would have been had he been on site. So this is another knucklehead who was, in his demented mind, he was taking a run at it. And I think the good takeaway, apart from him being neutralized, is the fact that anyone else who's contemplating copycat behavior like this should think twice, because you can pay with your life very, very quickly. These guys are good.
That's
and
right.
That's the way, that's the message we want to get out. Think twice, think 3 times before pulling this stuff.
Any chance this would have been like a suicide by cop kind of intent?
That did occur to me because the probability of success was zero. There were so many other agents in that path to the other location. So that's difficult to say without a manifesto or corroborative third-party statements that may come forward in the investigation. But certainly it could be. But any way we slice it, the fact is that the protection was there. This is the way it's supposed to work, right? You detect, you disrupt, and you neutralize. And it worked perfect. This is poetry in motion.
And since we know the president spends a lot of time there on the weekend, he very likely could have been there. We know he was at the White House, and he was not at Mar-a-Lago when it happened. The FBI did make a request to residents in the area. I want to play a little bit more from today's presser.
Sure.
Listen to this.
One thing I would ask the public is if you live in the area of the shooting, please check your exterior cameras for last night, early this morning. If you see anything that looks suspicious or out of place, please contact us at 1-800-CALL-FBI or contact the West Palm Beach Sheriff's Office.
So Mar-a-Lago, it's in this beautiful, beautiful neighborhood, not far, there are other big homes and estates around there. So you would imagine there are a lot of security cameras around. What are the biggest unanswered questions that investigators are trying to resolve in these next 24 hours? And how will video footage, perhaps from these other homes, impact all of that?
The biggest questions would be, who is he? Why did he do it if it could establish motivation? And was there complicity in the part of another person or persons? And so what we're looking to establish, and they're looking to establish, is the entire story, not the story from when he breached the North Gate and was neutralized by the law enforcement. What preceded that? Was there a vehicle involved where there was communication with another person? Was there another vehicle involved? Was there a plate to be developed that could gather pedigree data that would help thread together and establish the facts as it relates to the broader story? Because that's what you really need to know. You have to understand if there's any complicity, any conspiratorial elements, anything is part of a broader picture, or is this just another maniac whose twisted mind in his mother's basement told him to get a shotgun, go with a gas can, and somehow get through the impenetrable security at Mar-a-Lago?
You got to imagine when any of this, and we don't know that this is political violence, but that is the assumption many are making. But you got to imagine that this is just absolutely rocking other members of the Trump administration, congressmen and senators as well. We did hear from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent giving his reaction to the incident this morning. Listen here.
I can tell you that the Secret Service is running. They are so much better now than it was in Butler. New leadership and President Trump and his family, they're safe, but they shouldn't have to endure attempt after attempt.
So given the 2 assassination attempts that we had on Trump, and then last week a man was arrested after rushing toward the Capitol there with a loaded gun, what do you think all this means for security planning going forward for the president?
More and more. The reality is you'll see assigned more manpower, which is great. There's never such thing as too much security in terms of manpower. There'll be greater leveraging of the appropriate technologies, what they may be. I'm not going to share. I do know what some of them are, but the reality is there will be an expansion, exponential expansion, both on the Palm Beach Sheriff's Department, who did a fantastic job, and on the Secret Service. They just keep coming. They're like the zombies in these zombie movies. Every time you turn around, there's another guy taking a run at the president. And don't forget, by the way, that opera singer, Hannah something or other in 2020, when she broke through 2 exterior breaches, many people may have forgotten, I did myself, and she got her car shut up with a load of bullets and locked up for that. And that was at Mar-a-Lago. So they just keep on keeping on. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is mind-blowing.
Well, we're learning from the Secret Service. They're saying that the agents involved in this shooting are being put on administrative leave while this investigation happens. You got to imagine that's a standard procedure. Is that right?
1,000%, 1,000%. It's clearly a justified shooting under any article of deadly physical force, but that's a policy and a protocol in the Secret Service, and perhaps in Palm Beach County Sheriff as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, I'm reading here from my notes from our producer that they were wearing body cameras. When do you expect us to get to see that footage? Will we?
That's a difficult question. I couldn't say with any precision because of the sensitivity surrounding this at the Winter White House, the fact that he did breach, the fact that he was neutralized. I would say later rather than sooner, if I had to speculate.
Later rather than sooner. Okay, we really appreciate your insight and analysis with your unique perspective. Retired NYPD Detective Pat Brosnan and also Mar-a-Lago member. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Of course. All right, 1/4 past the hour now. We are monitoring this breaking news out of Mar-a-Lago. We are going to bring you every